This is Channel 2 News at noon.
Good afternoon to you. Two juries have just reached verdicts this noon in the murder of a New York City school principal.
Now, this was to be the first full day of deliberations in the case of Patrick Daly, the school principal who was killed while searching for a student outside of a housing project in Red Hook, Brooklyn. Chris Borgen is live for us now at the courthouse in Brooklyn, where the verdicts are just coming in. Chris, what's the latest?
Well, Carol, the latest, as far as we're concerned, is the verdict on one of the three individuals who are charged with the murder of Patrick Daly. That individual is Shamel Burrows, 18 years of age, the man who was allegedly identified as being the actual shooter. Now, while he was identified as being the actual shooter by the police, the fact is all three are being charged with that second-degree murder of Mr. Patrick Daly. All three, if convicted, would face sentences of 25 years to life. Just moments ago, the jury on the Shamel Burrows case came in and announced they had reached a verdict.
As to defendant Shamel Burrows, under the first count, charging the defendant with murder in the second degree, what is your verdict?
Guilty.
Under count 4, charging the defendant with attempted murder in the second degree, what is your verdict?
Not guilty.
Okay, please be seated. Members of the jury, hear your verdict as it stands recorded. You say you find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree, not guilty of attempted murder in the second degree.
And with that not guilty of attempted murder in the second degree was a second case Mr. Shamel Burrows was undertaking at the time. That case was in a shootout which had taken place November 1st, about a month and a half before the Patrick Daly shootout. As of this moment, even as we stand here, the second jury is now coming into that courtroom to announce their verdict for the other two defendants, Carrie Becker and Jermaine Russell. And we'll have that information for you as fast as it comes in, possibly during this broadcast at least, or at 5 o'clock at the 5 o'clock newscast. Live from the Brooklyn Supreme Court, I'm Chris Borgen. Back to you in studio.
We'll be checking back with you, Chris. Thank you.
And in other news, a Long Island man is in police custody this noon after he allegedly went on a deadly rampage with a machete. Neighbors say that this man killed his nephew and slashed his niece and the children's grandfather at their home in Roosevelt this morning. They say the suspect surrendered peacefully, though, when officers arrived at the scene. The girl and her grandfather are hospitalized right now at Nassau County Community Medical Center. No word yet on just what triggered that machete attack.
We have this amazing story to tell you about at this hour. A woman was found in her apartment and declared dead yesterday by an EMS crew and a medical examiner. But Channel 2's Mary Murphy is live now at Coney Island Hospital to tell us what happened next. Mary.
Well, Lisa, school teacher Nancy Vitale of Marine Park is now in the intensive care unit here at Coney Island Hospital. But last night, police thought that she would be going to the morgue. That's because she was pronounced dead by an emergency medical service team who responded to her apartment. 3 hours later, her parents and neighbors found out it was all a mistake.
And her mother and father were called, and they went away thinking that she was dead.
The patient who needed emergency care is 40-year-old school teacher Nancy Vitale. And just before 6:30 last night, 3 EMS technicians responded to her basement apartment on Ryder Street in Marine Park, answering reports she was unconscious on the floor.
They were out within 5 minutes. And from what I understood was that she was dead.
But 2 hours and 44 minutes later, after the medical examiner had also pronounced her dead, the coroner discovered Nancy Vitale was really alive.
If an EMS technician cannot find, when they find someone, if they don't know whether the person is dead or alive, that's an incredible thing.
I wonder if they even
that's
checked
absolutely
her.
Hold on a minute, hold on.
I was wondering if they even checked her. I mean, what did they do to find her dead? You know, did they look at her and just walk away?
In fact, Nancy Vitale may have been lying there all morning and all afternoon because she hadn't gone into school yesterday. After Nancy Vitale called in sick to work, her parents showed up here at her apartment in Marine Park suspecting that something was terribly wrong. But they could not get inside the basement apartment, so they sat on the stoop for several hours, hoping that the landlord would come home. They left, and then when the landlord did arrive about 5:30, she discovered Nancy Vitale on the floor. 4 hours later, Nancy Vitale was taken here to Coney Island Hospital in critical condition, but still alive.
It seems unreal. I can't imagine it happening. But it did.
Now, just a few minutes ago, the Emergency Medical Service issued a statement to one of our producers, Wanda Provenzano, and it said that the technicians had acted properly last night, did nothing wrong, and they are back on duty this morning. Apparently, the coroner was doing paperwork last night, 34 minutes after pronouncing Vitale dead, when he heard a moan. We know that Nancy Vitale has been a school teacher for about 19 years. She's single. She did live alone. We are still trying to get confirmation on how she came to be unconscious last night. Reporting live from Coney Island Hospital in Brooklyn, I'm Mary Murphy. Back to you in the studio.
Amazing story. Thanks, Mary. Well, there are now 2 more possible drowning victims of that freighter that was grounded off of Queens a week and a half ago. The Golden Venture was carrying hundreds of illegal Asian aliens to America. Police say the body of a male Asian washed ashore this morning on Beach 169th Street in Queens, and the body of another Asian man was found yesterday afternoon on Rockaway Beach. Autopsies are being conducted on both men to try to determine their identities.
A Bronx boy has become the first person in our area to report possible tampering in his soda this noon. This case centers around a bottle of Pepsi, not a can. Channel 2's Lisa Castleman is live for us now in the Bronx to bring us up to date on the growing number of reported tampering cases across the country. Lisa.
Well, Lisa, we're outside the Napoli home here in the Bronx, where FDA investigators are here right now talking to members of the family after a 9-year-old boy in the family says that he found a needle in a 2-liter bottle of Pepsi on Sunday. He said he poured a little bit of it, drank some, then poured a little more, drank that, and that's when something scratched the roof of his mouth. So they're investigating that case here right now. There have been other cases around the country, and we have that story here. The PepsiCo Corporation says several calls have come in this week from consumers complaining about foreign objects in cans of Pepsi soda. Among them, this New Orleans man who bought the soft drink at a convenience store.
I opened it in front of the lady, and I took a swallow, and I said, "Miss Rose, something stuck me."
This case and others come on the heels of a federal investigation into 2 confirmed cases of product tampering. Both involved nearly identical syringes found in cans of Diet Pepsi. In one case, the needle was bent.
Well, I was shocked, and I became nauseated.
Federal investigators are targeting the Seattle Bottling Company, where both Diet Pepsi cans were processed 5 months apart.
We invest thousands and thousands of dollars in our quality control operation, and this is of great concern to me and the rest of the company.
Today, PepsiCo released this statement from its headquarters in Purchase, New York, saying, "At this point in time, we have no reason to believe it's a manufacturing problem. We've been presented with no unopened cans that have contained anything other than Pepsi products." Now, the FDA is taking this very seriously, but at the same time, they have also issued warnings to people. Just, look at these products carefully before you drink them. Also, another type of warning, if anyone is caught tampering or putting a false claim of contamination about resulting from tampering, they say these people can be prosecuted. As for the case here in the Bronx, we spoke with the family. They didn't want to talk on camera. We are hoping that they will later, after they meet with their attorney, who is also inside there with the FDA investigators. So hopefully we will have more at 5 o'clock. Reporting live from the Bronx, I'm Lisa Castleman. Now back to the studio.
Okay, Lisa, thank you. Lots more still to tell you about on this Tuesday afternoon. We'll have updates on the conditions of 2 of America's top politicians who had surgery yesterday.
We'll also have the reports of a new poll that pits Governor Cuomo against Al D'Amato in a race to head New York State. Plus, the troubleshooter with wedding do's and don'ts. Advice for couples you won't want to miss.
For transplant yesterday, Casey underwent 13 hours of surgery in Pittsburgh. The transplant was the 61-year-old governor's last hope to fight a genetic disease that was destroying his organs. Doctors now say that Casey has a pretty good chance of normal life expectancy. Also, Pennsylvania Senator Arlen Specter is also recovering this Tuesday. A brain tumor believed to be benign was removed from the Republican senator yesterday in Philadelphia. Results from tests to make sure the tumor was not cancerous are expected to come in a few days.
Coming right up after a break, what every engaged couple should know before they walk down the aisle.
And also coming up, why a new government rule may change.
Go right to Channel 2's Chris Borgen, who is live for us outside the courthouse. Chris?
Lisa, that second jury, jury number 2, has just come into the courtroom 10 minutes behind jury number 1. Jury number 1, as you know, had convicted Mr. Shamel Burrows, the 18-year-old, as to the actual shooting of Patrick Daly. He was convicted of murder in the second degree. Now, the second jury has just come in, as we said moments ago, and they have now presented their verdict. Guilty as charged, murder in the second degree against Carrie Becker and Jeremy Russell. All three then convicted of the murder of the 48-year-old Patrick Daly, the school principal who was caught in a crossfire when he walked through the Red Hook housing project looking for an absent 9-year-old student. That shooting, that murder, that death resulted in a tremendous uproar here in Brooklyn about this wanton shooting in the borough. And these three individuals, each charged with second-degree murder, each now found guilty. In Brooklyn, I'm Chris Borgen, Channel 2 News, back to you live in studio.
Hype and come in touch with the huge marketing effort that surrounds Jurassic Park.
It's not over yet. CBS News correspondent Jerry Bowen has more now on how dinosaurs are making big bucks in the 90s.
And Jurassic Park the movie?
Can I touch it?
Sure. Jurassic Park the meal?
A dino-sized value for a dino-sized appetite.
Jurassic Park the merchandising blitz is a very big deal.
If you look at the original Batman in 1989, it was a merchandising success story. It made $1.4 billion worldwide. Jurassic Park could easily do that.
Most kids already like the product, dinosaurs. Along comes a good story about dinosaurs, and you have a marketing blitz more powerful than Tyrannosaurus Rex, crying to be free.
The success of a merchandising campaign is determined on the success of a film.